So this is Real World News, which is a journalism program produced by the students at the Queensland University of Technology. My name is Abbey Macfarlane, and joining us today is QUT Associate Professor Daniel Angus to discuss the shift in media ecosystems. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. So you've done quite a bit of research on Instagram and looking into the transparency and openness of brands and influencers. Can you tell me a bit more about your scope of research?
For sure. So the project that we're involved in is an ARC funded project called a Discovery Project. And what we're interested in looking at is the role of algorithms within platforms like Instagram, which is wholly owned by Facebook. Instagram, for those who are unaware, is an image sharing platform where users take images, they share them with friends who are following them on the platform. But in recent years, Instagram has become a hot site for brands and influencers and others. And it's this kind of the promotional logics that are kind of buried in that platform that we're really interested in looking at. But specifically how promotional activities tie in with algorithmic infrastructure of the platform itself. So very much looking and tracing how when, say, users share images, what does the platform do with those images? How is it processing those algorithmically to then retarget those users, say, with further advertising, to build profiles about their own activities, and kind of how that shapes the dynamic of use of the platform.
And what do you do with that information once you collect that data? Then what happens to it?
So what we're doing is we've built an array of infrastructure. So some of it is to collect public Instagram data. That's a very difficult thing in itself because the platforms avoid that kind of transparency. They make it very difficult for social media researchers like myself and others in our DMRC to obtain data sets that we use for this kind of transparency research. We've built some pretty interesting infrastructure ourselves, I would say pretty amazing actually, to get around some of those blocks that Instagram put in our way, to gather data sets on things like music festivals or other kinds of, kind of public culture. And then what we do with that data is we've built our own kind of open infrastructure that we think is a simulation or like a kind of something that's a bit akin to how Instagram process your and my users, if we're users of the platform, to then be able to go a bit deeper into that.
And is that what the image machine idea is all about?
Yeah, so the image machine really is what we call a critical simulation. So what the image machine does is it simulates in a very transparent way how images that are shared on the platform can be associated with brands and other general aesthetics. So it gives us an understanding about how the platform itself might be operating on the images that users are sharing.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to add, Dan?
Yeah, look, I think it's just that issue of transparency, that the need for this research is really because platforms like Facebook and Instagram and others, they lack transparency in what they're doing with the data that we share with them on a day-to-day basis. And so I think that our research is critical because it does bring that much needed transparency.
Lovely. Thanks for joining us, Dan. It was certainly interesting to see how we can analyse social media and the data driving it. We look forward to seeing what your research brings to light. That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in to Real World News. I'm Abbey Macfarlane. See you next time.